Hi everybody, today I'm going to talk to you specifically about the NIC knowledge exam, which we call the written test. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information, an overview of the NIC written test. I highly recommend that you go on RID's website and download information regarding the knowledge portion of the test. And just to let you know how much information that is, I printed it out myself. Okay, and it is several pages of information that's specifically related to the written test, or what we call the knowledge exam. And there are two little sections. One is a test outline related to tasks and knowledge and skill statements. And there's another little section that's the knowledge test candidate bulletin. And both of these documents would be useful for you to print and get to know and learn and love, because this is information that's pertinent to you as you strive for certification. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about the written test, and here we go. There are 150 multiple choice questions on the test. To pass the test, you must receive a scaled score of 500 or better. Now, in my information regarding that, you'll have to read and see if there's information that tells you what the scaled score means. It may be available to you and it may not. You'll have to read and find out. But you're going to essentially do 150 multiple choice questions. You must pass this test. And there are 10 tasks that are listed. And in those 10 tasks, there's actually some subcategories in a couple of areas. So I'm going to kind of briefly go over those. But again, you'll want to download that information from RID's website, www.rid.org. All right, so task number 1 is you're going to assess each interpreting situation to determine if you are qualified for the assignment. Okay, so you must have knowledge related to roles and responsibilities of that assignment. You must have knowledge related to ensure that you're a good match between you, the interpreter, and the parties involved. And the parties involved doesn't mean just the deaf person. It means the hearing person or people and the deaf person or people. Okay? You need to also have knowledge related to requirements and expectations of the consumers. And again, the consumers is everyone, not just the deaf person. You must have knowledge of language continuum and variations in signing so that you'll be able to match your signing style to the deaf client. Because as a skilled interpreter, you should be able to change your signing style based on the deaf person in front of you. They should not have to accommodate you. And then you'll have to have knowledge of assignment content. Okay, so this is information they'll be looking for on the test. They'll have random or multiple choice questions that you'll be reading and thinking about, using your critical thinking skills to figure out what is the best answer. Okay? Along with knowledge, they're going to want to see skills in recognizing the impact of personal values and professional conduct. Okay? Some of this information we're going to also talk about when we start talking about the Code of Professional Conduct, which will be soon. Recognizing personal and professional strengths and weaknesses. Meeting consumer communication needs. Recognizing strengths and weaknesses. Okay? I'm not going to read them all, but what you have for each task is knowledge statements you need to know under the task, and skills. Okay, so again, under task number 1, assess each interpreting situation to determine if you are qualified for the assignment. You do not want to take an assignment that you are not qualified for. There are plenty of interpreters, although we'll talk about the shortage of interpreters, but there are plenty of interpreters who are qualified for various settings and situations, and you want to make sure that before you take an assignment, you are qualified for that setting, that situation, those deaf people, those hearing people, that content, that vocabulary, both in English and in sign. Okay. Task number 2, prepare for the assignment by determining logistics and purpose of the interaction for all parties involved. Okay, and there are knowledge and skill statements related to that I will expect that you will get from RID's website. But some of the things that's related to that is logistics includes, do you need a teammate? Should your teammate be a deaf person or should it be a hearing person? Is the situation calling for simultaneous interpreting or consecutive interpreting? Are there distractions in the room? Is the lighting appropriate? Is the placement appropriate? Does the deaf person make the determination of placement, or do you, or does the hearing person, or how does that get facilitated appropriately? Okay. What are the goals of the parties involved? So if let's say that it's an assignment where there is a hearing speaker and a deaf client, what is the goal of that hearing speaker? What are they trying to convey? And as the deaf client, what is their goal for being at that situation? Are they just listening? Are they trying to learn something? So those are considerations that you'll consider, that you'll think about related to accepting assignments. Being prepared. So task number 2, prepare for the assignment by determining logistics and the purpose. Okay, task number 3, maintain competence in the field of interpreting by attending workshops, classes, reading professional literature, working with a mentor. So these are questions that they're going to ask you related to that. Things probably such as, how is attending a deaf event beneficial to you? What available resources do you have on a national level, on a local level, on a state level? What is the benefits? What are the benefits of being involved of professional organizations? What are the current cultural trends? This is all information that you'll be tested on in the knowledge portion, the written test. So you're going to want to make sure that you understand what RID expects of you as an interpreter in maintaining competence in the field of interpreting. All right, task number 4, apply the code of ethics for the interpreting profession. And these days we call it the Code of Professional Conduct, as does RID, they call it the Code of Professional Conduct. But you'll want to understand the Code of Professional Conduct, the Code of Ethics from RID, maybe the original version of the Code of Ethics, if you can still find the NAD Code of Ethics, because NAD, the National Association of the Deaf, had a set of Code of Ethics themselves before NAD and RID came together to create this new NIC test. Are there laws that supersede the Code of Ethics? And so you're going to want to understand how to appropriately apply the Code of Professional Conduct, or appropriately apply ethics into various situations. So they'll be testing you on that under the knowledge test, under the written test. Task number 5, provide interpreting services that reflect awareness and sensitivity to culturally and ethnically diverse groups. As you know, deaf people are not all from the same cultural background. They are not all from the same ethnic background, nor are your hearing clients, because they are your consumers as well. You will likely be interpreting for people who are not like you, wherever you go, on a daily basis. So you need to be able to provide interpreting services appropriately that reflect awareness and sensitivity to cultural and ethnic diverse groups. All right, so differences between culture and community, rights and privileges related to membership and non-membership in cultural groups, recognizing when gender, ethnicity, and or cultural differences may influence the interpretation, recognizing nuances in vocabulary,